we are having a super powerful transformative Q&A session today. Every Friday, I'm answering in the VIP podcast questions of the community. However, we received so many beautiful, powerful questions that I thought I give you an idea of how it is what I do every Friday. And I picked 3 questions which I'm going to answer in today's episode. Welcome to the podcast Manifesting Big Money Fast. My name is Jeanine Hurd. I am so excited that you found this podcast or that you're tuning in to another episode. This podcast is all about manifestation, big money, energetics, spirituality, how it's all connected, and most importantly, how you can increase your bank account right now. So let's dive in today's episode. Money lovers, this is definitely one of my favorite part to answer community questions, to see what's going on in your life, to see what's going on in your business. And of course, let's find out how you can make more money in your business. The first question we've received was, what do you think about lending money to friends or your partner? What energy and frequency do you think this has? First of all, I have to be honest. I've never lended money to friends or a partner. I've never lended money to anyone. First of all, no one has ever asked me. Second, I feel energetically I'm also not open for that. I'm a massive fan to keep things very simple and super clear. So I love it when in a business we are coach and coachee, or when I enter a business relationship, it's coach and coachee, client or provider and receiver. In a relationship, I love it. My partner has his tasks, and I have my tasks. I love it that every one of us has a very specific role. And just from, this is purely based on past experience, mixing different roles in different relationships never worked out really well for me. So based on that, and yes, we can obviously argue it's a belief, it's based on past experience. Obviously, also it can be different. I personally just like it to have very clear roles and not leave those roles. For instance, back in the day when my company was still in Germany, obviously I had German employees. The vibe between us was more like friends. Not so much like I'm the boss and you are the employee. And not that I would say I'm a traditional boss. But what I've learned, if no one's the boss in a company, then no one's leading. And when I was leading very clear in my boss energy, sometimes it was weird to my employees because I was like, I thought we are friends. Why are you saying this? Yes, we are friends and I'm your boss. So it doesn't come easy to me. So I like one role, one relationship, one task. That comes more easy to me, that comes more natural to me. So that being said, if I would lend money to friends, my partner, family, doesn't matter, I for sure would have a contract, how much money is being given and how this money is being paid back. I personally love contracts because it provides space between, it provides clear rules, clear regulations of how this contract we are entering is being used. And I just love contracts for clarity. Because right now, the moment you are going to lend money to friends, partner, family, sometimes emotions can be very high. And then let's say the family member can't pay you back, although you said the person would pay you back, I don't know, every Monday. And now it's much easier to say, but hey, we have a contract. We both agreed on this. How can we make this work? And it's kind of like a contract provides something like a neutral ground, neutral energy for me. So that's definitely one thing I would do when lending money to friends or a partner. Always with a contract. This is, however, just my personal opinion. What energy and frequency do you think this has? I personally, in general, I don't lend money. I don't give my money away. I almost don't donate money. I donate very little of my money, and here's why. And it's very interesting, actually, that this question popped up now, because I'm recording this on a Monday, and this weekend, my mom was in Portugal, and my husband and I, we did some sightseeing in Lisbon. And we were at a monastery and waiting in line, and there were some people, some women selling their jewelry. And they said like, oh, if you take 3 necklaces, it's only $10. And if you take this and this, it's only $10 for 5 pieces, huh? And this woman in front of us was like, no, I'm not interested. Thank you. And the woman that was selling always lowered the price. And then it reached a point where this other, like the seller said, oh, you have a cold heart. And this is when the other woman bought from the seller, because obviously she didn't want to have a cold heart. And I thought it was so interesting. And we had a chat afterwards, and I said, see, I'm never buying in this energy. I'm never giving money give money to people that back, because I see you in your power. I see every person in their power. I see their potential. I know what they're capable of. And that's why if you believe in what you have to offer, you will always receive the exact value. But by lowering the price in such a ridiculous way, like this sales lady did, I already knew she doesn't value her products. So why would I buy something from someone who doesn't value it? Can you see what I mean? And also the way when we give money to beggars, most people, it's like, oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for you. Here's money. But think about this from an energetic perspective. You're giving money because you think this person can't make it otherwise. You think this person only can sit here and beg. And I think it's not true. Every time I see a homeless person, my thoughts are like, oh my gosh, if this person navigates through this, and like the stories this person can tell on stage are outrageous, are so powerful, I'm like, for me, it's like, I always see a person, I'm like, if they get out of this, oh my gosh, the sky isn't even the limit. So much is possible for them. And therefore, I'm very, very selective how I spend my money, to whom I give it, and the energy I'm in. So if it's coming from like, I don't see you in your full power, I just feel sorry for you, and that's why I am giving you this money, it's like you're devaluing this person by giving the money. This is definitely something I will check in. Next question. What would be your first step when you have a business idea that is providing services, not products? It doesn't matter, actually, if it's a business or if it's a service or a product. If you have an idea, you always test it, and that means you find an audience that values what you have, and you try. This is something most people are not willing to do. Your business, it's so much trial and error. What works for you doesn't work for me, and vice versa. And this is something people forget. Like we just had this power conversation in the question before, that people believe like, oh my gosh, I'm just giving this business mentor some money and now he builds me a business. And you don't have to think anymore. And that's not true. Everyone is different. That's why we're having the unique program. We're just in the final parts, which are all about finding your audience based on your uniqueness. Like, who values the most what you have to offer? Can you see it makes, like, let's say you have a hair salon, right? You're cutting hair. Wouldn't you agree it makes sense to talk to people that desire a haircut, meaning they have hair, they have long hair, versus it wouldn't make sense to talk to people that don't value a haircut, because people are just going to tell you, no, I don't want this. I don't want this. And this is the hardest part for people to figure out. First of all, this is my offer. This is what I value in it. I see the value in that offer. Second, I'm going to talk to someone that also values this, and then I'm learning to sell. So this is always something I'm teaching you guys or talking about. It's like, as a business owner, all of a sudden you have to become everything. The person who marks a product, like you create the offer, you create the product, you market the offer, you sell the offer, you do the customer service. You do accounting, you do the legal stuff. There's so many things in the beginning. You have to teach yourself, because it's a one-woman show. It's a one-man show, often in the beginning, how it starts. And there's always two currency. Either you pay with time. When you don't have the money, you pay with time. And this is what the poor people do. That's where they always like, oh, I'm taking the bus. It saves me $5, but it's 5 hours longer. And the richer people get, the more they value their time, because they understand it's the only currency, it's the only component you can't buy. For now, instead of like doing like trial and error and finding things out, I always hire someone. And this is something you have to understand. Like in the beginning, if you don't have the financial resources, you gotta pay with your time and teaching yourself. And this is something where people, I'm like, oh my gosh, I see all the success stories online. We talked about it in the podcast. It's a freaking marketing. It's like a TV commercial you see from other people's business. It's not real. It's a freaking marketing. No one shows you, oh, I'm working this, I'm dealing with this. No one really shows you the behind the scenes, because it's not glorious. It's like, you don't see on a commercial, I don't know, maybe people receive food poisoning from a yogurt. You do not see this. You only see, oh my gosh, this happy family, everyone's eating a healthy yogurt. And the story continues. Like, very silly, but you have to understand this. And I feel like a line with people, they don't see it on social media anymore, that they just consume the freaking marketing. And then they get so evolved. And the more emotions evolved in a business context, it's just not a beneficial thing. Let me put it like this. And this is really why in manifesting big money fast, the full transformation, the full year, we go through 3 parts. First, you have to learn how to make more money. This is the first part. Like, you have an idea. How are you bringing it to the market? How are you selling it? And this is always true, no matter if you already have a business or not. Because the thing is, and obviously I'm talking from experience, always using the same 3 steps, making more money for me really changed when in the beginning I asked about like a 10K month, a 50K month, a 100K month, and changed completely when I asked for 150 million. And it was the most uncomfortable thing I've experienced so far as a business owner, because literally how I've made 15 million, none of it stayed. Because none of it was scalable to $150 million a year. It's very interesting, right? Very uncomfortable. So again, I had to ask myself how to make more money. And in this case, 150 million. And this is what I've received. And this is what I'm implementing currently. It's very different than in the beginning. When you've met me, I mostly had high price offers. A lot of close proximity, many masterminds, a lot of access to me, a lot of one-on-one clients. I don't do this anymore. Unless you're my one-on-one client, you almost don't have any access to me. In manifesting big money fast, the full transformation, every Wednesday, I am answering people's questions. That's one thing I do. It's one of the only containers where I am actively participating every week and you have access to me. And again, this is not a live call. This is just you asking me your questions and you receive a personal answer. But there are many things I had to learn and I had to change and was very uncomfortable, because for me, and I know this is true for many people that have many online coaches that have changed their business model from like high price to low price, there is a little bit of a dip, because first of all, people are like, why is the price changing? Why is this like, why am I not working closely with you anymore? Like, what's happening here? So it takes some time just to shift. So coming back to this question, first step is always you have to see the value. This is literally what we do. It's the first part in the transformation. And then you have to learn how to keep more money in your business and invest in other people, in new technology, in the product itself. And then you have to learn how to multiply your money, how to make more money in a business context. And then the cycle starts again and again and again. And just recently, we've actually split the Manifesting Big Money Fast full transformation. So if you don't feel like doing the full year, you just can buy now the first part, the first transformation, which is just make more money. Or if you feel like, hey, I feel good about this, I highly recommend you start with number 2, how to keep more money, how to keep the money you've made. And then step number 3, you also can buy separately, how to multiply your money. However, I highly, highly, highly recommend you to buy step number 3 only after you've done 1 and 2. It makes more sense. It lands differently, because people very often think I'm like, oh, let me just multiply, do more. But if you are currently sitting on a pile of cockroaches, you will just multiply the pile of cockroaches. You will not multiply money. And it's very important. And I feel for most of you in this community, you're really having a hard time of keeping your money, the money you made. It is very easy to make just more money. And we see this over and over online, at least in my Instagram feed. It's there all the time. People telling you, this is how you make 30K cash months, 50, 60, 100, blah, blah, blah. It's all making money. Let's have a conversation. How much money is actually left for those people? And for what are they using this money? How is it growing? It's such an artificial marketing thingy, because talking from my own experience and other people's experience in like masterminds, like there's so many people that make so much money, but still at the end, nothing's left. And I've just posted something very powerful today about the Your Money is Yours live talk I'm hosting on Thursday. That, how to say this in a nice way. If you don't master how to keep more money, you will always stay broke, no matter how much money is coming in. And this is something rich people truly mastered compared to poor people. There's a long-term plan. There's not emotional buying, just smarter decisions. And when I've entered this world, people told me, I'm like, oh, you gotta, I don't know, buy Dior, Chanel, and I do. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But what's more important for me is to keep more money, to have a plan. Because I know if I can hold more money, and what that exactly means is really something I teach in my programs. It's not saving. If you know me, I shared this. I never have more than 5, maximum 10K in cash in my bank account. I take it out every single week because it's just not a safe spot. And if you've joined the webinar, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I have a different plan, and that plan makes sure I always receive more and more money, and it goes to places which multiply. And that's a genius system, because at one point I thought, I love what I do. And I also love the freedom of, hey, if I feel like I want to take a long break, I don't want to sell any offers in my coaching program, I still desire to have money coming in. And for this, I have to set up a system to have more income streams completely independent of my business. And this is something I also would actually consider in the beginning. really a long-term perspective, something I didn't do. It was always like, oh, the first month, the first year, the first million, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the final questions for today. Final question. Could you please share more about how you ask for signs and communicate with the universe and your body? I would love to hear about your journey, how you started, how you build trust over time, and what the process looks like for you. What do your questions typically look like, and how do the answers reveal themselves? So in general, I just ask the universe for guidance. I think I always done this in the beginning. If there's something that's of importance to me, I just ask for guidance. I try not to ask any how questions. How questions are from the ego. It's like when you don't believe in yourself. It's like, how can I do this? How can I make $1 million? How can I get this new client? How? It's already coming from, it's not here. I want it now. Show me how. But it's this little 2-year-old child in you that says like, I want it now. Show me how. I want this now. Give it to me now. So this is never a good indicator. I deeply believe, looking back, it's a journey of over 6 years. And in the beginning, I journaled a lot, helped me a lot, writing down my thoughts, really writing down what is it exactly that I desire. It's also part of the full transformation, the money journal. I teach exactly, I show you all the journaling prompts I used and I still use. A lot of meditation and breath work really helps me. Also the heart opener session and the money activations we do. I always receive amazing insights for the community. And especially this year, starting kind of end of last year, my personal focus really has been on health, detoxing my body. I shared a lot about this, that in general, I don't go see a doctor at all. I go to the dentist just for teeth cleaning. There were some VIP episodes in which I shared that a dentist roughly, almost 10 years ago told me I need a new bridge in my teeth. And I just said, no, I don't feel it. And they said, oh, it's super urgent, super important. And 10 years later, here I am, still fine. In the end, I've learned about our healthcare system, just to make this very short here, that I am only beneficial to the system. That means the insurance, the pharmaceuticals, and the doctor, if I am sick or if they can do something on my body, on my teeth. And as a child, obviously, my parents didn't know better, so they trusted the doctors, and there was really some serious damage done to my teeth, to my body, that was not necessary. And it's very interesting, since I have the mantra, I'm healthy and wealthy, I just attract more health. And this really helps me to be highly receptive. I always say this, when you have a call with me, when you have a program with me, you never pay me for the 2 hours we spend together. You pay me for all the time I've invested in order to provide this information to you in 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. And the more sensitive I allowed myself to be, the more I am receiving the signs. And I deeply believe either everything matters in my life or nothing matters. And those are really the little things, like looking at the time and I see, oh, it's 11:11. Does this mean something? Yes or no? Those are the things, everything means something to me. There are always signs. There's always guidance. And there's something A Course in Miracles taught me very early on, and that statement was, those who are certain of the outcome are willing to wait. Those who are certain of the outcome are willing to wait. And this is something really I'm learning more and more. I'm receiving on a deeper level in my body that the first couple millions I made in my business came so fast, so easily. I'm like, oh my gosh, But since I've been asking for 150 million the last 2 years, it almost seemed like things are more or were more collapsing or breaking apart than moving forward. But now, moving more and more forward, being in this and looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so genius how the universe guided me, how everything happened. So this is also something, whatever happens right now to you, very often it doesn't make sense. But always looking back in hindsight, it's a genius plan that has unfolded. Because you've asked, Jana, especially about trust. Trust is something for me that's belief, that's faith. And that also shows up if I have faith that in this lifetime, I'm building a company that makes 150 million. First of all, it doesn't entail in 1 year. It doesn't matter to me if it happens this year, next year, in 5 years or 10 years. So if I'm honest, the time component is completely irrelevant here. Second, if this is my goal and I deeply have faith and believe I'm being guided there, this supports me when things seem to break, when things seem to be interesting. And I think this is the biggest muscle all of us can learn. Faith, belief, trust. And that also shows up on a deeper level. If I deeply believe, let's say, you want to make 1 million this year. If you deeply believe you're making 1 million this year, which questions coming from the end are you asking and which questions are you not asking? Because many people tell me, I'm like, yeah, I want 1 million. I'm going to make 1 million. I want a 100K month. And then at the end of the month, it's not there. Why it's not there? Or in between. So if you really believe that there's 100K, would you ask why the money's not here? No. So very often our questions and the way we ask already indicate that we don't believe. It's easy to say, yes, I believe, I trust. It's a complete different story to live by faith and trust, because that will eliminate for many of you the questions you ask, the way you show up, the mood you're currently in. And it's a muscle that gets better and better and better. And I do not have a certain process for this. I think there is no process. I deeply feel our process to our own spirituality is as unique as we are. There were times when I was pulling an oracle card every morning. I have an angel cards app. There's so many things. Sometimes I use, sometimes I don't. And this is something also I had to learn to allow myself. I deeply believe in the beginning when I'm mastering something, a clear and exact routine helps me a lot, like going to the gym every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. in the morning. I book my classes, I book my trainers, boom, it's a done deal. It's super beneficial for me. Also, this is my plan, like my nutritional plan for the week. Boom, I buy this, I eat this. Amazing. I love it. It's easy, it's simple, it's streamlined. However, this is exactly what I'm doing right now because I feel like I'm in the beginning. I still have some resistance in my system that tells me, is this really good? Do we really have to go to the gym in the morning? Oh no, today I don't feel like, let's sleep interlude. However, it's different when I'm journaling today because I've mastered this. I journal, I'm straight to the point, I can download from my own field, I'm super connected. But it took me 6 years to be here. And this is sometimes what we forget. I think there are some studies, and they all said it takes roughly 1,000 hours in order to master something. And this is definitely what I can say. I've journaled over 1,000 hours. Easily. Like probably 3,000. So for me, always when you're in the beginning of something, put in the consistency, have a plan, do every day the same thing. And after 1,000 hours, when you feel like you've truly mastered this, okay, you can add some flexibility and you can add your feelings like, oh, today I feel like journaling. No, today I feel like doing a meditation. The only thing I literally do is I do something for myself early in the morning before I do something for everybody else. And that has been a true game changer. I hope, guys, this podcast episode was of value to you. You like this, that I shared some questions from the community here. I love you. You've got this. And of course, if you haven't signed up for Manifesting Big Money Fast, the full transformation in which we were going to show you how to make more money, keep more money, and multiply your money in the next 12 months. It's an amazing opportunity to join right now. This work has been so transformative, obviously for me, for my family, for our audience, and it's going to do the same for you. The thing is, we haven't learned anything about money. Most of us grew up in families where there was just average wealth. Most likely you're the first millionaire, multimillionaire, billionaire in your family. And that means, I always say, you're the chosen one to bring the wealth, to keep the wealth, and most importantly, to show the next generations in your family what that is and how to do it. Because if you don't do it, it's going to take another generation to change that in your family. So trust in yourself. You've got this. I love you. I talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast Manifesting Big Money Fast. I've got 3 very important announcements for you. First, if you like what you're listening, make sure you leave some gratitude, leave a review, share the podcast. Second, if you love what you're listening to and you want more of that, there is a VIP version available. That means you will have access to 3 podcast episodes every single week. Simply check out the store, courses.richandhappiness.com, or the link in the show notes. And lastly, there are always monthly money activations happening around the new moon and full moon. If that is something you're interested, check out the store for the next money activation. I love you, and I can't wait to see your beautiful face soon again.